everyone, my name is Samantha Nolan. I am the current president of the Southeasters Homebrewers Club and an avid brewer. I've been homebrewing for about 7 years. I absolutely love the hobby and I hope that this is a great introduction for you to become an avid homebrewer. Today we're going to be making beer, obviously, and we're going to be using a technique called brew in a bag. So for this technique, you will need a couple of things that you would probably have lying around at home, which is why we chose to use this particular technique. So the first thing you will need is you will need your ingredients, which would consist of your grain. And you can get your grain at any homebrewer's shop where they will mill it for you. They'll weigh it out and they'll mill it. You'll also need hops and you will need yeast. Those are your ingredients. Your equipment would be a fermentation vessel. This is a 10-litre bucket. If you don't have one of these and you make a smaller batch, you could always use one of those 5-litre water containers. If you have a big spoon, that's very useful. You'll need your bag. This is not a bag as such. You can use muslin cloth. I went to our local fabric shop yesterday and they didn't have any more muslin cloth because everybody's brewing. So I bought this. I don't actually know what it's called, but it's actually very cool. I've doubled it up. This is in its single layer. I've doubled it up. It's nice and stretchy and I think it will work really well. I've put it into a colander so that the weight of the grain can fall into the colander for when we close it up. You will need a empty little bottle like this for your airlock. You will need some silicone tubing, which you can also get at a home improvement store. You will need a drill and a scale if you have one. You will also need sanitizing solution. This is very important, guys. Can't stress enough. If you don't, this is a citizen. If you don't have this at home, you can make up your own sanitizing solution using 4 milliliters of unfragranced bleach to 1 liter of water. When you use it, just drain your equipment well or whatever you sanitized with it. Don't rinse it, just drain it really well. The other thing you'll need is you'll need a big pot. A pasta pot or a soup pot works really well. This is a 10-liter soup pot. So currently I have 8 liters of water in here and the temperature of the water is at 72. What we want to do is I'm just going to put the stove on quickly to keep the heat, and what we are going to do now is we're going to take our grain, we're going to put it into the bag and we are going to put the grain bag into the pot of hot water. So there we go. I've got this elastic which I'm going to close the grain bag with. Typically speaking, if you have a grain bag from a shop, it will go over the sides of the pot. Because I've bought this from the shop, I'm going to close it up. It's nice and stretchy, as I said earlier on. Just make sure when you close it up that you get all the ends in and that there are no open gaps. Otherwise you're going to end up with a pot full of porridge. So let's just close this all up as high as we can go. It's very important to have a lot of space in here for the water to wet the grain thoroughly. Alright, so let's just close this up here. You can obviously use a piece of cotton or string if you prefer to. This elastic works really well because it closes it up nicely and I'm happy with the job that it's doing. I just want to check that it's all closed, that there's no holes. See, there's a hole. We don't want that, so let's just put it underneath here. Just like that. Yeah, that's closed. Right, so the water is currently at 71, which is fine. You're aiming for about 71 or 72. when you drop the grain bag in, the water temperature will drop to about 68, which is where you want it to be. So without further ado, in goes the grain bag. I'm just going to drop it in. I'm going to grab my spoon. Just give it a push down. Just make sure that the grain gets really, really well wet. And give it a little bit of a stir. There we go. Just drop the whole bag in. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this out. I'm going to pop the lid on, take this off, and I've got some blankets which I'm going to put around the pot, and the blankets will insulate the pot and keep it hot. So let's just pop that over. Now the intention is for this to stay here for an hour. This is our mash, and this mash needs to stay at about 68 degrees Celsius. During the next hour, I will come back and I will check on the temperature of the mash. If it's a little bit cold, I'm definitely going to put the stove back on for a little bit to bring it back up to temperature. And it shouldn't become hotter than it is because, as I said, the stove is off. Just make sure, guys, if you're going to put the stove back on, that you take the blankets off. So I'm going to go put my timer on now for an hour, and I will see you back in an hour. Thanks very much. Hi guys, so it's been 20 minutes and I've decided to come and check in what's happening here with the beer. Its current temperature is 67, which I'm really happy with. I'm just going to open this up and have a look inside and give it a stir. So let's grab the spoon, have a look inside. Oh, it's looking good and it's smelling good, just like I'd like it to. Oh, that's amazing. Give it a stir. Get all those grains around. Absolutely wonderful. There we go. So there we go. I'm going to close that up again. I'm going to put my blankets back on. And I will be back in 40 minutes. Hi guys, welcome back. So we've had our mash sitting at about 68 degrees Celsius for the past 60 minutes. What we're going to do now, and it's completely optional, is we're going to do a mash out. We're going to raise the temperature to 75 and we're going to leave it at 75 for 10 minutes. We're going to do this step just to get a better malt extraction, a higher wort gravity, which means basically we're just going to have more sugars in the wort. So I will take this off now. Here we go. I'm going to pop the stove back on. We're going to raise the temperature to 75, leave it there for 10 minutes, and we'll be right back. So it's been 10 minutes that our mash is going through the mash out at 75 degrees Celsius, and it is now time to take the grain bag out of the pot and to start our boil. So let me just whip this off the stove here. There we go. And do remember, of course, that this is very hot, so take care not to burn yourself. I'm just going to lift this up. Ooh. There we go. So I'm just going to let that stand over the side for a little while so that it can cool off. While that's cooling off, what we're going to do is we're just going to make the hole in our lid for the pipe, for the airlock. So let's grab the drill. This drill's got a drill bit that's equivalent diameter to the pipe. I'm just going to put this over here just so that you can see. Just going to drill a hole right there. There we go. So there's the hole in my lid, and you can now see that this fits perfectly into there. It must rather be too tight. You really want a tight seal over there, no gaps, and this pipe fits perfectly in there. So I'm going to just take that out because we're going to sterilize that or sanitize that a little bit later. And I think this should be cool enough now for me to lift it out. So just pick it up. So it is very hot still. So there we go. So this typically now is the, because our boiled volume, or our mash volume was a full volume mash, meaning that we used all the water that we wanted to use, and there's no sparging or rinsing of the grains. This now is considered the sparging. I'm going to just pop this into this bowl over here, and whatever drains out from here we can put back into this pot. This is going to go back to the stove, and we're going to bring it to the boil. So when you're boiling this, you can leave the lid off, and once it starts boiling, then we're going to be doing our hop additions. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for this to come to the boil, if you have a 60-minute hop addition, you can go and grab your hops out of the freezer. How these hop additions work is it counts down. So 60 minutes is the beginning of the boil, and as you work your way down, when you get to 0, that's the end of the boil. So if you asked for a 45-minute hop addition, it means it's been boiling for 15 minutes and you're now sitting at 45. So that's all for now. Let's just see how much we can take out of here. It's quite a bit. I'm going to just pour it in there. You can just check every now and then. You can check this pot or the bowl, and you can pour the liquid, the water that's drained out, into this bowl. You can pour it back into the pot. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'll be back as soon as this comes to the boil. Hi guys, welcome back. So my water is now at the boil, and I have a 60-minute hop addition, which is 6 grams of Simcoe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add this to the pot, just like that, and leave it. It will smell all aromatic. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm going to be back in 30 minutes for my next hop addition. See you then. It's been 30 minutes, and I have another 5 grams of Simcoe that I'm going to add to my boiling pot here. Just going to put it in and just leave it. I'll be back at the end of the boil to add my flame out hop addition, and I will see you then. Thanks. Well, we've reached the end of our boil, and I'm going to switch that off, and now we have the ice bucket ready to receive the hot wort. But I have a flame out hop addition, which is 6 grams of Southern Aroma. So I'm just going to give this a stir, and I'm going to give it a quick stir, create a bit of a whirlpool, and throw that in. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to move our ice bucket over to the side, and we're going to pop this on top. There we go. Right, so this should take approximately 10 minutes to get down to about 25 degrees Celsius. That is what we're looking for. If we could get it down to 20, that would be even better, but it's quite difficult. So I'm just going to aim for 25, and when it's at 25, I'll be back. So it took about 15 minutes for our water to come from 100 degrees to 25. And now what we're going to do is we are going to pour this into our fermentation vessel, and then we are going to pitch the yeast. So I'm going to just take out the thermometer. So as you know, I had acetylsan in here. I've removed the acetylsan and sterilized my airlock pipe, and I will now just pour this over. Taking care not to contaminate your fermenter with any water that's on the outside of the pot. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our spoon again. We're going to give it a good stir just to aerate the wort, and then we're going to throw our yeast into here. Just straight into the wort at about 25 degrees. There we go. Give it a good stir again. Get all that yeast in there. Alright, so now, just for my purposes, I have a refractometer. I've got other stuff that measures gravity as well, but I'm going to use a refractometer just for this exercise and just check what the gravity of my wort is. So I'm just going to grab the sample out of here. You need very little, and you just put it on the lens, just like that. Have a look. And my gravity is 1045. So this is going to be a low alcohol beer. We're looking at about 4%, I imagine. And that's it, guys. There's nothing left to do except to put the airlock onto the bucket. Just close it really well. And we're going to pop that in there. The other side of the pipe goes into this bottle that's got water in it. The pipe must go straight into the water. And then by tomorrow morning, this will be bubbling away. And the last business at the moment is to have a beer. So cheers, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. It was a lot of fun. I hope you've learned a lot. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep watching for more videos, because we're going to be posting more as we go along. And welcome again to the wonderful world of homebrew. Cheers. See you guys soon. Bye.